Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for joining us. मैं फराज खान आपसे अमेरिका से बात कर रहा हूँ, प्रिंसटन न्यू जर्सी से, और हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर ज़ुबैरी साहब। और आज का मौजू जो है इंशाल्लाह अनलॉकिंग द पावर ऑफ एआई और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस पे रखे थे बहुत सारे माशाल्लाह स्पीकर्स और प्रेजेंटर्स. We will also be joined by another speaker inshallah. So we're going to get started very, very soon, inshallah. So as you are joining, we'll give a minute, inshallah, 1 minute इंतजार कर लेते हैं और फिर उसके बाद हम शुरू करते हैं, inshallah. ठीक है? Okay. Okay, assalamu alaikum again. Thank you for joining us. We are live और आप अपने कमेंट्स में सवाल वगैरह लिख सकते हैं चैट के अंदर. आप देख सकते हैं वी स्क्रीन के अंदर. यूट्यूब के ऊपर आप ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं तो उसके अंदर कोई भी सवाल हो आपके तो इस मौजू के ऊपर बिल्कुल, और हम आपको सवाल जो है यहाँ पे ले लेंगे इंशाल्लाह. आपको स्क्रीन पे भी देख सकते हैं और इंशाल्लाह स्टार्ट करते हैं सेशन. और सी Tools, trends, and opportunities for students, applied AI, a practical deep dive into how students can leverage AI tools, stay ahead of emerging trends, and unlock new opportunities for innovation. Today, inshallah, we are joined by Dr. Junaid Ahmed Zubairi. He is a distinguished professor at SUNY, or State University of New York, and a chair at SUNY Fredonia with over 4 decades of experience in computer science, specializing in ASIC and FPGA design, computer networking, and cybersecurity. He has led numerous research and engineering projects across VLSI design, network protocols, and real-time systems, and currently directs the university's postgraduate cybersecurity certificate program. So we are joined by Dr. Junaid Ahmed Zubairi, and also we'll be joining Mr. Faiz Ahmed, and I will introduce him here as well. Faiz Ahmed is an associate partner at Bain & Company in Dubai with deep expertise in AI transformation, strategic planning, and financial services. He holds an MBA from Harvard Business School and a BS in economics from Lums University, and has led impactful projects across banking, development, finance, and digital inclusion, inshallah. So again, tools, trends, and opportunities for students. हमारे students हैं माशाल्लाह technical or engineering के अंदर, और तो I believe this session will be very beneficial. Applied AI, so we wanted to discuss not just the background and the way things work, लेकिन आप किस तरीके से इसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं और क्या क्या ट्रेंड्स चल रहे हैं इंशाल्लाह, और क्या क्या टूल्स हैं जो आपको इस्तेमाल करके प्रैक्टिकली आप बेनिफिट कर सकें इंशाल्लाह. So thank you again. We'll go to Dr. Junaid Ahmed Zubairi Saab at this point.
Thank you very much, Faraz and Dr. Mumtaz. And welcome everyone to this quick intro to unlocking the power of AI. So let's start right away. So the agenda is just very briefly tutorial of AI, what's AI anyway, machine learning and AI for everyday use, and then also looking at use cases, agents, the dangers of AI. And we'll also talk about our smart city management research at SUNY Fredonia, where I am leading a group on smart city and IoT research. So what are we doing in SUNY Fredonia? So AI in general is a computer system that can perform tasks that otherwise require human intelligence. For example, pattern recognition, where you detect the patterns in the images, text or audio, and classifying images. Uh, for example, counting cars, trucks, buses separately, and natural language processing, listening and understanding speech, and carrying out the tasks as commanded. So AI is not magic. It uses a lot of math and data processing. It's not conscious. It has no feelings or thoughts, and it relies on the patterns and data it has learned. And for example, if the data is limited to until 2019, and it will never know that COVID happened in 2020. And AI can also make mistakes because it is not based on facts, it is based on probabilities. So machine learning, major branch of AI, so give large data sets to the computer that learns patterns from the data and improves the performance as new data arrives. So we can train the machine with label sets or use clustering for unlabeled sets. And deep learning is when you have several hidden layers. So classification is supervised learning process in which input data is assigned to predefined groups or classes, whereas regression predicts an output value based on the relationship between inputs. And generative AI, which is machine learning as well, generates new content similar to patterns in its training data. So it's all based on probabilities, as I told you. So all the patterns which are in the pre-trained model, they have their vectors, distance vectors, and the query that you post through the prompt is also its distance is calculated. Then the closest distance vector is picked up for in the response. So the online vendors provide suitable pre-trained models for business applications. And luckily now there are many which are SLM, which is the small language models. So they don't need a GPU. So you can run them directly on the CPU. And the most popular are Llama and Phi 3. And of course, if you go online, then AWS offers pre-trained models for deployment over SageMaker. And they're using pre-trained models for applications like car inspection, named entity detector in the video feed, insurance claim automation, loan approval decision making, or missing medical records detection. So all of these are just pre-trained models which are available. And Hugging Face is, of course, a huge collection of pre-trained models, thousands of pre-trained models, and also it has facility that you can pre-train your own model using the Hugging Face system. So AI for everyday use is popular in writing reports, summarizing documents, generating creative content, learning and tutoring, creating design of text and multimedia documents, and using pre-trained machine learning model for business applications. So assume that you are using ChatGPT, and if you give this command, set temperature 0.1, and then ask a simple question, tell me what an ocean is. So it comes back and says, an ocean is a very large body of salt water that covers most of our surface, and it gives all the facts. Then you set the temperature to 0.9 and repeat the question. It comes back with a very long answer, and it says, ask the ocean, imagine the Earth's ultimate mood swing, a colossal, ever-changing blue expanse. So see how it tries to be creative, and it is responding to the same question because you increase the temperature. So generally, temperature can be low, means high accuracy and more predictable answer, and medium, which means a balance of accuracy and creativity, and above 7 is 0.7 is creativity. However, please note temperature is a hyperparameter and you can only change it through programming using the model's API. And if you change it through the prompt, the AI system only pretends that it is changing it by simulating more deterministic or more creative behavior. Similarly, you can also play with frequency. Set frequency penalty to 0 means that you allow repetition of words. Set frequency penalty to 2 will penalize repetition and increase diversity. So same line is described with low penalty of frequency. The big dog saw the big cat and made a big noise. But when you increase the penalty of the frequency, then it will change it to something like the large canine spotted the hefty feline and created a thunderous racket. And again, you can change the frequency through API. And this will only, the AI will only pretend that it is changing it. But if you want to keep it high or low, then you have to go through the model's API. And the biggest challenge is in prompting, believe it or not, even if everything is good, but if you give a bad prompt, you will get a bad response. For example, a weak prompt like I want to cook food will give you a general response, like gather ingredients, prepare spices, start stove. However, a clear prompt like I want to cook chicken curry in Pakistani style will give you specific ingredients, measured ingredients, and step-by-step method. And you can direct the Gen AI to act as a specific person, such as act like a historian, a software developer, food critic. You can also place constraints, such as do not include tomatoes in the chicken cooking recipe. You can also specify target audience, like complete beginner or technical expert. And also, you can request a specific format, like 50-word summary or a step-by-step procedure. And as you know, there are a bunch of AI tools. I would advise you to like bookmark all of them and just like open all of them at the same time and then send the query to them and then learn from the response. ChatGPT is good for conversation, coding, and media generation. Grok is integrated with X and Tesla, engaging responses. Gemini is from Google. Again, it is good conversation and image generation. Copilot is from Microsoft. It's also good for conversation and code generation. Then Grammarly is AI writing assistant. Claude AI is conversation and code generation. DeepSeek AI from China is also good in conversation and image generation. And Canva AI is good for images and videos from user text. So looking at the market share, currently ChatGPT is holding the greatest market share with 46.59 billion annual web visits. And then you can see that Gemini, Claude, and Grok are important players. And Canva AI, you can, for example, I just gave a command with reference to Sunny Fredonia, generate a photo in which President Sunny Fredonia and Vice President celebrate with 3 deans on learning that Sunny Fredonia has been ranked among the top 10 universities in the nation. So you can see that how it generates the images. It's a little bit biased because it only shows white people. Our president is a black person. So there are some biases in the model that you have to deal with. And there are many use cases. You can ask it to make a household budget, prepare the minutes of an online meeting, develop a Toyota car dealer web page using only HTML and CSS, design an assignment for students of cybersecurity course, plan my 10 days vacation starting in Paris and visiting Switzerland and Italy by train, covering the top places and things to do. Gen AI can be used in K-12 and higher education by faculty and students. So, you know, Dr. Masood Khan is a Pakistani-Australian professor in Curtin University. He has worked on authentic assessments to combat plagiarism using Gen AI. Authentic assessments are implemented using either game-based learning or simulation environments. For example, if you have heard of the name Logisim, it is used to simulate digital circuits. If we give a question which can only be solved within Logisim, then you cannot use Gen AI to solve that question. So also there is AI or not.com that helps detect AI generated material. And there is a GPT-0.me that claims that it helps the faculty members in detecting anything submitted by students, AI generated or not. However, some students have challenged it and they said it wrongly flagged them. Also, when you use the AI in war, military applications, it can lead to real risk of an unintended escalation. And there are risks because of black box nature of AI decision making. We cannot find out how the AI made the decision because it is all based on probabilities. And lack of good quality data will result in biased decisions. And also, you should not share anything you don't want to be posted on the public internet, including your personal information, confessions, secrets, financial data, health and medical information, or workplace data. AI also suffers from hallucinations. So you can also mitigate this by saying that for each claim you make, assign a confidence score between 0 and 1. And I have also come up with a prompt, which is GenAI Accuracy Enforcing Meta Prompt, that you can use exactly as it is. I have tested it with ChatGPT, but you can also test it on other GPTs. It will work with other GenAI as well. So it says for each factual statement you make, include a confidence score and where the information comes from. Does it come from general knowledge or likely training patterns or verified external source? And you can also explicitly state uncertain, that GenAI should tell you I'm uncertain about it, and present the answer and confidence breakdown and notes on uncertainty. One concern that people have is that earlier people used to turn to the web for if they had questions. You're familiar with Quora, Stack Exchange, Reddit, Stack Overflow, WikiHow, Wikipedia, and it was all human-generated content, human-generated Q&A. But now what is happening that GenAI is training on these websites, but the users are not going to these websites. The users are turning to GenAI for answering their questions. Therefore, what happens is that the GenAI uses the existing Q&A from these sites, but there is no new or no fresh Q&A. So therefore, the web knowledge base is not increasing. So GenAI knowledge base is also not increasing. So we can say that GenAI is becoming dumber and have obsolete information as the time passes. Nowadays, everybody is talking about agents. AI agents are widely deployed in the industry. The agent use the model context protocol to query the databases. It's a wrapper for SQL calls. So OpenAI Codex is also released as a cloud-based agent. It's a truly software assistant. Let me just show you interaction with our Codex. User says, add a user login page with input validation for email and password. And Codex agent gives a list of plans and acts. So plans, okay, I will create login.html, login.js, and update routes.py. The plan involves creating a form, writing JavaScript for validation, and adding a new route to handle the post request. Acts, the agent then automatically creates and edits the necessary files. And as you know that AI is also going to be a big player in the 6G. 3GPP release 21 and 2 years from now will be the first release of 6G. The enhanced network promises connectivity for 1 million devices per square kilometer, latency under 1 millisecond, and potential bandwidth for users of 1 terabit per second and at the speeds traveling at 1,000 kilometers per hour. AI will be integrated into all the layers of the network. It will be called native AI. And we are running our own smart city research group in SUNY Fredonia. I am leading that group. We have been working on traffic analytics and management with machine learning. Our ultimate goal is to use ML to guide the drivers away from potential congestion points. So we have this speed detection example. There we are using the libraries of machine vision to detect whether it's a car or a bus, and also to detect the speed, current speed of that vehicle. So as you can see in this video, we have a detection frame, and as soon as the vehicle enters the frame, it starts detecting that. And also our software libraries can also detect the crashes, because crashes can cause unexpected congestion on the roads. So we have worked on a few algorithms. Contrast algorithm is single source, single destination routing to avoid the congestion points and to guide the users away from congestion, the motorist. And we published the results in IEEE 19th International Conference on Smart Cities. And then also hierarchical graph approach to route planning. We have the reactive congestion awareness approach using hierarchical graph. And we published in the Journal of Universal Computer Science a paper titled Reactive Traffic Congestion Control in Smart Cities by using hierarchical graph. And also we worked on emergency vehicle routing and traffic light control. And we published our results in the Computer Science and Information System Journal. And the title was Mapping and Just-in-Time Traffic Congestion Mitigation for Emergency Vehicles in Smart Cities. And also we use machine learning for vision libraries for traffic management, so that we can train the model with light and heavy traffic, and then we can detect whether it is a light traffic scenario or heavy traffic scenario. And finally, we are using currently Sumo for creating a digital twin of Manhattan grid, and so we can experiment and we can ask questions about traffic planning for the future. So with that, I thank you very much. I really appreciate speaking with the students of NED University. As you know, I am an alumni of NED and always very pleased to come back to NED. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I can check the Q&A and I can answer the questions.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर ज़ुबैरी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका, बहुत आपने एग्जाम्पल भी दी उसके साथ, और उसके अलावा you know, this is what you're teaching, educating the young minds here in America, और आपने हमारे साथ शेयर किया, तो आपके कीमती वक्त का और ये जो आपने रिसोर्सेज शेयर किए हमारे साथ, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। कुछ सवालात हैं तो मैं 2-4 सवालात उस पर डिस्प्ले करता हूँ, स्टूडेंट्स ने मुझसे पूछे थे, तो ठीक है, तो जवाब चलते हैं सवाल की तरफ और मैं डिस्प्ले करना चाहूँगा। तो ये अली इरफान ने पूछा था कि is Python more suitable than Julia, as Julia is designed specifically for scientific numeric computing?
So Python is used in general, it is more suitable for like general applications in AI. However, if you are working on the scientific numerical computations, and if you have a refined language to use which is more tuned to your applications, yes, then in that case it will be suitable to use the Julia.
Okay, great. एक और सवाल उन्होंने पूछा है तो हम चलते हैं उनकी तरफ दोबारा। Splinter Building Flakes नाम दिया है इन्होंने अपना। Would the sources of the info to train the AIs have to be compensated for such? ये उनका सवाल है।
Yeah, I think that
I don't know if
yeah, that
please
question
continue.
may be related to the dilemma that I pointed out, that the web knowledge base is not increasing. So therefore, what is happening is that Gen AI is getting trained on obsolete knowledge, something like that. So if that was the intent, I really don't know what was the intent of the question. However,
yes. Yeah, it helps to have context in there. Again, there's another question, Splinter Building Flakes की तरफ से। ये आखिरी सवाल है, इसके बाद हम चलते हैं फैज साहब की तरफ इंशाल्लाह, और फिर आपसे भी जो भी सवाल आएंगे स्टूडेंट्स की तरफ से तो हम उनको ले लेंगे। तो this is students asking, since I don't have too much knowledge on AI and I want to ask, is it possible for AI to develop enough to start performing managing workloads?
Yeah, most definitely. I think it should be possible. And also, I will give the information here, my contact information. Okay, so can you see that? Contact information. So yeah, you can send me an email if you have any specific questions. Send me an email, zubairi@fredonia.edu.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Zuberi, for sharing all of the resources and your contact. Dr. Saab is a very busy person, I'm sure, as he's teaching the graduate certificate in cybersecurity and others. So this is a great resource and contact information you have. Quickly, I do have one more. It's a simple question, and that is from Sultan Khan Sabti. What is agentic AI? If you could just briefly.
Yeah, agentic AI is the same concept that I was talking about, that there are agents who are working with the employees. So every employee has a companion agent, or they have a subordinate agent in AI that is working in the background as the employee is working on their day-to-day task. Then the agent is running in the background and providing assistance, providing any kind of like coding or any type of thing that the employee uses or needs. So agentic AI is becoming very popular. Industry is using it. It is widely deployed here in USA. And I think that in the future, you will see that the agents will become almost autonomous.
Speaker, inshallah, at this point. Give me a second. Okay. So we're going to shift away from the slides, inshallah. And we'll continue with you, Dr. Zuberi Saab. So please stay with us. But we'll now move on to Mr. Faz Ahmed, inshallah. And let me quickly read your intro, Faz. Good to have you here. Again, our topic today is tools, trends, and opportunities for students, applied AI, a practical deep dive into how students can leverage AI tools, stay ahead of emerging trends, and for innovation. तो फैज हम ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं हमें फैज अहमद. Mr. Faz Ahmed is an associate partner at Bain & Company in Dubai with deep expertise in AI transformation, strategic planning, and financial services. He holds an MBA from Harvard Business School and a BS in economics from LUMS, and has led impactful projects across banking, development, finance, and digital inclusion. So, Mr. Faz, we'll continue with you at this point.
Thanks a lot, Prasad. And thanks a lot, Dr. Zuberi, as well. It was very informative, I think, the entire presentation. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to make this a bit more interactive as well, just to get to know people's thoughts. So maybe chat pe responses aate rahenge. I'll show a few slides, but I'll have a few questions. Maybe a bit of background on. I'm not as technical as Dr. Zuberi, but what I do a lot of is the change management part of AI. Right? Ye jo transformations honi hai, there is, let's say, a certain extent, which is the technology, and then there is a significant extent, which is around change management, business transformations, process redesign, process reimagining, which is what I focus on. Or ek baat jo thi that Dr. Zuberi mentioned around prompting, that's where I think we'll spend a bit of time on what is a good prompt, how do you use it in your daily lives. But just before that, maybe I'll project my screen and ask a few questions. Let me know when you can see the screen.
I will give you a signal once there's a lag behind, but I'll give you a signal. I do see your slides coming up, and I will share. And I want to put up the chat that's right next to it. So हमारे students chats वगैरह देख सकते हैं, आप सवाल भी कर सकते हैं. तो अभी इसको chat को हम hide कर देते हैं और let's give you a chance here, Mr. Faz. Continue. Do you want me to remove the chat or messages for now?
No, I think it's fine. I think we can do both in parallel. I think
it's fine.
और इस पे request आई है कि
ठीक है.
अगर उर्दू हिंदी में हम ज़्यादा focus करें तो we can also do that. On this page, I think if we just get around, But which one is real? Because Dr. Zuberi talked about a lot of content generation through AI, etc. Isme left wali or right wali? Which one looks real to everyone? I think it just, if we write left or right, we can. So right is real, okay. Any other options? I think मैं ये training जो है
They both look
at least over 2.5 yes, but I've done this over I think 2,500 people now, and I think always a split room के ज़्यादा कुछ left बोलते हैं कुछ right बोलते हैं but हमेशा split होता है, it's never a consensus. But if I go to the next slide you will see that it's actually the right one because इनकी earrings अलग अलग हैं. So AI ने शक्ल बहुत अच्छी कर ली हर चीज, you know, eyes are great, everything is figured out, but earrings जो है उसमें थोड़ी सी रह गई, right? So there are different earrings, उससे detect कर सकते हैं कि the right one is the fake one. But the idea is AI इतना आगे अब पहुंच गया है, it will continue to evolve whether through the data on the web or through जो अपना data भी अब AI create कर रहा है, that this will continue to evolve and it's very useful कि हमें पता हो कि फर्क कैसे detect करना है, जिसकी अभी तक कोई formula as such नहीं आया है. But hopefully if we keep on our toes and start looking at stuff, उसमें और हमें समझ में आ जाएगा. Just to bit sort of talk about कि ये capabilities evolve कहाँ से कहाँ तक हुई है अभी तक. If you start, if you look at 6 to 8 years, जो कि इतने पहले नहीं था, 6-8 साल पहले, right? Image captioning अगर prompt लिख देते हम कि a group of people standing on top of a beach, जो if you see on the left hand side, वो एक you know डूबता हुआ घर with some people looks like a flood versus a beach बनाना शुरू करते थे. जो राइट हैंड साइड पे फेशियल सिंथेसिस करो तो शक्ल सही से नहीं बनती थी. IQ scores अगर आप देखें and in that time 6 to 8 years ago आपके पास OpenAI was still sort of an idea. Google, Baidu, Bing के अगर आप AI check करते was well below even ये 8-year-old का IQ, right? वो 18 साल 12 साल 8 साल के लोग तो दूर की बात, AI was still below that. और कोड जनरेशन में थोड़ा बहुत यूज होना शुरू हुई थी, right? 17% of code globally was generated by AI machine learning back then. Now, if you fast forward, abhi, when you start looking at it, it will start to analyze very complicated pictures. So, wo pipes on the left hand side ke wo vent hai ya air pressure kahan se aa raha hai, warm kahan se, cold kahan se, it could you know validate that. अगर आपने images अब देखे हो, we saw it on the previous page as well, but mid journey के through अगर आप pictures देखना शुरू करें, outstanding video content creation होती है. IQ score बहुत पीछे रह गया, 18 years of का IQ 125 plus IQ आ रहा है और 82% of code globally is now, and this is very recent numbers, and this will continue to increase. 80% of code is written by AI now. All of this to say कि capabilities अब technology side पे बहुत बढ़ गई हैं. अब now the next step is for us to understand कि how are we going to make the most of this? इस capability को हम कैसे use करेंगे? How do we champion this capability कि हमारी जिंदगी अभी improve हो? Because the next piece that I want to start to talk about is the change management piece. एक test हुआ था, and this is quite recent, कि potential diseases from chest X-ray देख के diagnosis करना है. If I ask a question के accuracy, human doctor without AI, right? So an actual doctor आप specialist बना दें without AI, उनकी accuracy कितनी होगी in terms of percentage number? Any guesses? We just need again ये जो सारे surveys हैं मैंने और बहुत पूरी दुनिया में किए हैं, and the answers will be relatively the same. I'm confident. चले 50% एक आया है. I think specialist है तो थोड़ी और accuracy होती है, around let's say 74%, और ये बहुत बड़ी स्टडीज के बाद ये नंबर्स आ रहे हैं. सो ऑन एवरेज 74% ह्यूमन डॉक्टर विदाउट एआई की एक्यूरेसी होगी. इसी चीज को मैं अगर अब मैं बोलूं, लेट्स टेक द ह्यूमन आउट कंप्लीटली ह्यूमन को निकाल के आपने, एज डॉक्टर ज़ुबैरी सेड, ऑटोनोमस एजेंट हो दैट इज जस्ट लुकिंग एट चेस्ट एक्सरेज और फिर आउटपुट्स दे रहे हैं एक्यूरेसी के. सो आई डोंट नो अगर ये 60% 30% अभी आया है, इसकी एक्यूरेसी कितनी होगी? चले 69 80 परसेंट तक नंबर आ रहा है. द नंबर इज एक्चुअली सरप्राइजिंगली इवन हायर. तो चेस्ट एक्सरे थोड़ा बेसिक कर दिया ना हमने, तो उसको बेसिक को इट्स मोर देन 90% एक्यूरेसी एआई विदाउट ह्यूमन डॉक्टर. एवरी टाइम आई प्रेजेंट दिस टू पीपल, सबको खौफ शुरू हो जाता है कि एआई अच्छा, इतनी हमसे अच्छा, ह्यूमन से अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, हमारी जॉब चले जाएंगी एटसेट्रा. But remember, that is not the point of AI. As in the concept of human in the loop. That
बिल्कुल.
AI,
Mr. Faiz,
AI अपना पूरा काम.
जॉब
Yes.
चली जाएगी लेकिन
But-
जिंदगी बच जाएगी. बिल्कुल. That's
exactly,
great
but
stats.
no. But the idea really is कि AI को augment करना है humans को, right? So they should augment humans versus replace humans. Right? I've been doing these transformations for the past 2-3 years, and I can guarantee to date there have been no layoffs because of AI. It's all been productivity enhancements. If you give AI to salespeople or doctors or etc., they can just cater to more patients versus the doctor, radiologist, etc. gets laid off. तो ये अभी तक बहुत consistently रहा है कि कहीं, और जो companies हैं भी जिन्होंने बोला कि हमने we've institutionalized AI now and we're going to get rid of people, they all had to hire back. But now for the last one, if I say human doctor with AI, इसकी accuracy कितनी होगी? So now AI without the doctor is 90% plus. Human doctor without AI is 74%. So human doctor with AI की accuracy कितनी होगी? Any guesses over here? 85%. Good point. 100%. चले. Usually इस तरीके के numbers आते हैं, which is it's going to be quite high, but actually in the same study when we did this, it came to 76%, which is actually way lower than the AI without human doctor. So what is happening over here? And I saw a comment around humans will mismanage, etc. Broadly, I don't want to say mismanage, लेकिन actually यही हो रहा है. So हम AI को अभी तक सही तरह यूज करना नहीं शुरू किया है हमने, right? So all of these tools that are coming in, हम humans we are getting used to it, right? जो खौफ रहेगा, if there is going to be fear, which means you are not adapting to AI in time and you are not using it to the full potential, and that's why I saw a message around कि नहीं layoffs होंगे और ये होंगे, सब यही बोलते हैं, but I'm just saying at a mass scale that so far has not happened, right? The new jobs that were going to be created for the same repetitive roles, वो नहीं हो रही अब, लेकिन to a certain extent mass layoffs अभी तक शुरू नहीं हुए हैं. And the point of the information that I'm providing is कि हम at least AI with human, I would expect कि 92% से भी ज्यादा होना चाहिए कि जो भी खामियां, hallucinations, etc. AI में है वो human आके पूरी कर दे. But at least these numbers show कि हम अभी बहुत पीछे हैं उससे, right? There is a lot for us to yes, indeed. So the question जो आया है कि should be based on doctors' experience and expertise, exactly. लेकिन ये बहुत सारे doctors के through average होके number बता रहा हूँ मैं. So a lot of their expertise averaged out. उसके बाद ये numbers आते हैं. I think it's just an important point to make. इसलिए मैं ये numbers usually दिखाता हूँ, because the best use of AI is actually this. If people see on the screens, अगर याद हो, all of us saw sort of Iron Man, uska ek AI assistant hota tha, Jarvis. That's what we need. And Jarvis used to do everything for Iron Man, do all the research, etc. But it's not like they used to guide decisions, not take decisions on Iron Man's behalf, right? Tony Stark's behalf. This is what we need to move towards. कि हम किसी तरह AI को augmentation tool बनाए अपने लिए. And the best way to do that is to understand how it work for an average person on prompting. For example, because सब consistently सबसे बड़ा issue अभी तक पूरी दुनिया में यही आ रहा है कि tools आ गए हैं, हम सही तरह use नहीं कर पा रहे. And to take Dr. Zuberi's example of the prompting to the next level, अब मेरा थोड़ा सा इसमें questions हैं. And open any GPT you want. Claude, OpenAI की बात हो गई, Microsoft Copilot की बात हो गई, Perplexity, a lot of people are using these days. You start doing this. We won't do this live and try this offline. कि हम सिर्फ लिखें Python is a type of और enter click कर दें. If we try that, 50% of output will be कि Python is a type of snake. 50% of the answer will be it's a programming language, right? ये 50% split. You can try it again and again और यही answers आएंगे. We can try it a bit later, but that's the big point I want to make around prompting. कि अगर आपका prompt होगा Python is a type of, आपको ये 50-50 वाले answers मिलेंगे. But if I take that and I say a Python, मैंने सिर्फ a add किया है. A Python is a type of, उसको समझ में आना शुरू कर देगा that we are thinking more about the animal Python versus the programming language Python, because मैंने a add कर दिया सिर्फ. I can be even more concrete कि मैं जाऊं और मैं बोलूं I'm at a zoo, which is I have given context. जैसे हमने उस पर डॉक्टर ज़ुबैरी ने पाकिस्तानी फूड का एग्जांपल दे दिया था. अब मैं दे रहा हूं I'm at a zoo. A Python is a type of, and the 100% of time इसमें hallucination बिल्कुल भी नहीं होगी. It will say it's a snake. And this is a very important tool to remember. And ये Python वाला example just most engineers also tend to remember. So it's what I use mostly in these trainings के to hammer home a point of prompting कितनी जरूरी है. Because अभी सब जो है ना ऐसे ही वो करके output दिखती है, they like it a lot. If it's a ridiculous output, they blame AI and they say कि ये AI तो मतलब कुछ भी नहीं कर सकती, right? But with true prompting, your productivity is going to go up above 30%. अब ये 30% का number is also what's emerging in most markets. कि वो local markets हो, international markets हो, हर जगह जो है ये 30% का number is coming up quite rapidly. So how to get there? I will just have one more slide and then we can pause for questions. is ये हमने बचपन में एग्जाम्स बहुत दिए, जिसने भी OA लेवल्स किया है या जो भी किया है उसमें GCSE होता था. And GCSE, no matter the problem you're trying to solve, will help you in terms of prompting. So अगर ये याद रखना है हमेशा GCSE, you have G, which is goal. So हमेशा you make it very clear to the GPT that you're talking to या जिससे भी आप वो कर रहे हैं, AI use कर रहे हैं, कि आपका goal क्या है, right? I want an output which is an email, for example. You provided the context, जैसे हमने zoo का mention किया. Right? के audio, like time horizon क्या है, मैं कहाँ पे हूँ, etc. You mentioned the source, because you can say go to encyclopedia and tell me what is a Python, for example, right? And you have the expectations. Tell me in a way which is tied a bit to the hallucination point that Dr. Zuberi was also making. कि expectation क्या है? I want the length should be one paragraph. I want it to be very formal, very professional. या फिर आपस में ही बात करें, so I just want a friendly tone and a very clear answer. GCSE, I think if anyone takes away one thing from this session should be this, because अब मेरे पास है like Fortune 500 companies, top executives over there will every time I meet them now are talking about GCSE is the one thing they took away because they are using it a lot in their using it in their everyday lives. I think that's about it in terms of the content I wanted to share. We can open it up to questions. there aren't there research facilities which are trying to find better ways of applicating AI? Yes, there is a lot of research ongoing on this. And the applications across industries, right? I work as Frasad mentioned up front as well. I work a lot in financial services, which is banking, sovereign wealth funds, etc. Sub के dedicated arms of research के how do we make this work? How do we make it work for ourselves? Use cases कौन से होने चाहिए? But सबसे important, I think, अभी भी है change management की बात over here कि how do we get people to use it the right way? Indeed, उसमें आया depends on the person and context clues. So वही है GCSE. Up goals context is a very important part of that. If you give it the right context, it should be quite good. How can we learn the prompting techniques? Prompting technique के लिए GCSE याद रखें. I think हर दफ I when I write prompt शुरू में जो आप करते हैं आपके you can almost write goal colon ये goal है मेरा, context ये context है मेरा, source ये source है और expectation ये है. Even that you can start with that to be very concrete. Muntasir is asking any thoughts on agentic AI flows which are specifically focused on using AI to make decisions. But one of the points that Dr. Zaberi mentioned is around loan processing. So at least in my area of expertise, agentic AI is already there and has been there, let's say, for the last 6 to 9 months in a very mature stage. So a lot of credit card application आप apply करते हैं वो हो रहा है पीछे हर चीज agentic flows में चल रहा है पहले let's say it was a lot of rules based machine learning अब वही चीज evolve हो गई है into autonomous agents with a nice context protocol that is making all of these decisions in the background and driving the actions as well. I can explain GCSE जैसे हम अभी बात कर रहे थे goal maybe I can circulate that page as well और या इसमें recording में वो page होगा right Prasad तो उसमें
Yes.
आपको हर चीज whatever you ask AI you specify a goal that you want to achieve. You know, I want to know about 1, 2, 3 things. The context is in my personal space, I am a student looking to learn more. Source, can you go to encyclopedia or Reddit or wherever you want to go? And expectation is very clear. मुझे एक paragraph में answer दे दें आप कि whatever I'm looking for. I think not just specific to civil engineering students taking up that question. Gen AI in every, let's say, educational field, you can use it to complement your work. सबसे important बात है ये augmentation complement का ये ना हो कि पूरा assignment आए वो उससे हो रहा है because remember the eventuality even with artificial general intelligence जो लोग बात करते हैं कि फिर we'll have completely autonomous agents driving everything in the future, you still need to understand how these things work. तो उसके लिए थोड़ा we still need to be using our brains तो पूरा outsource ना कर दें AI को, still keep the sort of use it to augment your work. How is agentic AI performing? I'd say it's performing quite well, if that is the question. Or how it's worked is anything that has had a lot of rules in the past, वो rules are used to train these agents as well, right? So बहुत सारे आपने agents बनाए हुए एक agent है जो आपने application की that's going to read your documentation, right? जो पहले आप OCR के through करते थे वो करते थे, now you have a document intelligence agent that will read everything, parse everything, and say this is what the application says. Then you will have sort of a judge that decides कि ये application की criteria क्या है वो और agents को outsource कर देगा कि go do some thinking, come back to me, and then eventually based on a credit decisioning system you will get an answer, and then even the fulfillment is now being automated के आपने जब हर चीज कर दी वो क्रेडिट कार्ड एप्लीकेशन क्रेडिट कार्ड फिजिकल कार्ड प्रिंट कराना है उसकी रिक्वेस्ट भी पीछे एजेंट कर देंगे. So a lot of banks actually are doing this already in the Middle East where I work and also internationally. Indeed, you have to be very descriptive of what you want. Civil engineering, mechanical engineering, sub, I think, is very useful. Can you, job market with AI? I think that's a very interesting question because इस पे आजकल बहुत बातें हो रही हैं. If you start looking every 50 years or 60 years, right, 50% of jobs, ये without AI की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं, 50% of jobs anyway used to disappear, right? पहले टाइपराइटर होता था, टाइपिस्ट की जो जॉब होती थी वो अब नहीं है after computers. हम I think थोड़ा और like we are blowing it a bit out of proportion के ओ हमारी jobs चले जाएंगी. I think अभी कोई recent report आई थी कि 40% of jobs will go away, which is still lower than the 50%. 50% jobs in the last 50-60 years have already gone away. Not because of AI, a normal job with the age of computing, internet, sort of more, the technology revolution we've had, उससे AI से पहले भी 50% jobs जा चुकी थी, right? But as technology improves, some jobs become obsolete, new jobs can start coming up. And that this is the era of those new jobs as well. Prompt engineers are making so much money in today's world, which is a new role now. There was no prompt engineer getting paid $250,000 3 years ago, right? अब इस तरीके के बहुत सारे roles आ गई. So 50% जाएंगी, 50% आएंगी, and it will be sort of hopefully good for all of us going forward.
Thank you again, Mr. Faz. This is wonderful. I've seen a lot of activity in terms of chat and then a lot of responses from students. So this was amazing, that you were able to respond to so many questions. आपने बहुत सारे सवालों के बहुत जल्दी और मुख्तसर जवाब दिए, मुफीद जवाब दिए, तो स्टूडेंट्स को भी मजा आया होगा ये फॉर्मेट में. और मैं डॉक्टर ज़ुबैरी साहब का भी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करूँगा जिन्होंने हमें एकेडमिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से जो वो पढ़ा रहे हैं, जो समझा रहे हैं, और हम AI के किस मोड़ पे हैं उस तरीके से उन्होंने सिखाया, क्योंकि ही इज़ अ प्रोफेसर यहाँ स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ न्यूयॉर्क के अंदर, और उन्होंने हमें अप टू डेट इन्फॉर्मेशन दी. उन्होंने एग्जांपल्स भी बताई कि किस तरीके से AI जो है ट्रैफिक हादसात वगैरह के अंदर जो बचाने के लिए, लोगों को सेफ्टी के लिए इस्तेमाल हो रहा है. तो आपको फैज़ अहमद साहब ने भी बताया मोर फ्रॉम फाइनेंशियल पर्सपेक्टिव. ही इज इन दुबई, आई बिलीव, राइट? आप दुबई में हैं मुकीम?
बिल्कुल.
और हमारे प्रोफेसर साहब जो हैं वो ही इज इन न्यूयॉर्क एक्चुअली. तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह ये स्मॉल वर्ल्ड हो गया है, अब कनेक्टेड हो गए हैं. हमें जो स्टूडेंट्स को है, मैं थोड़ा सा आपसे बात करना चाहूँगा. स्टूडेंट्स जो ज्वाइन कर रहे थे, थैंक यू अगेन. ये आपके लिए है, ये फील्ड जो है फील्ड ऑफ ड्रीम्स ओपन है आपके लिए. आपने एक्सप्लोर करना है, आपने काविश करनी है, अपने आपको अप्लाई करना है, क्योंकि अब जो जैसे जैसे ज़माना आएगा, आपने अगर डेवलप की है एक्सपर्टीज़ तो आप आगे जा सकते हैं, और आपकी जो ग्रोथ होगी वो एक्सपोनेंशियल होगी. और ये नहीं है कि सिर्फ कंप्यूटर साइंस में है, ये इट इज अफेक्टिंग ऑल ऑफ द फील्ड्स, राइट? हमने मेडिसिन के बारे में पढ़ा, हमने सर्जरी के बारे में पढ़ा, हमने इंजीनियरिंग के बारे में पढ़ा, और दूसरी चीज़ें, राइट? राइटिंग, और ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर गेटिंग इफेक्टिव, राइट? तो आपने किस तरीके से किस सिम्त में जाना है, आपने ये देखना है आप किस चीज़ में बेहतर हैं दूसरे लोगों से, और फिर AI के अंदर आप क्रिएटिविटी किस तरीके से अपनी ला सकते हैं. तो मिस्टर फैज गेव अ लॉट ऑफ एग्जांपल्स, बहुत अच्छी एग्जांपल्स थी, जिस चीज़ों के बारे में हम सोचते नहीं. तो आपने सोचना है, आपने समझना है, और आपने आगे बढ़ना है इंशाल्लाह. तो मैं आपको ये मोटिवेट करूंगा कि डोंट जस्ट यूज इट फॉर कि किस तरीके से मैं पास हो जाऊं, मेरे पर्चे किस तरीके से ऑगमेंटेड हो जाएं, अच्छे वो बन जाएं. तो उसके अलावा भी हमने सोचना है. एनी लास्ट वर्ड फैज यू वुड लाइक टू शेयर स्टूडेंट्स के साथ, क्योंकि आप जो है क्लोजर इन एज टू देम देन मी अगेन. क्या कहना चाहेंगे उनको, कॉलेज स्टूडेंट किस तरीके से वो देखें इस अपॉर्चुनिटी को?
नहीं, I think the one example that I'll go back to Dr. Zuberi's example is आपकी स्क्रीन पे at any point in time 4-5 टूल्स खुले हुए होने चाहिए, राइट? मैं भी यही करता हूँ. मैं ChatGPT से भी एक ही सवाल पूछता हूँ, मैं माइक्रोसॉफ्ट कोपायलट से वही सवाल पूछता हूँ, मैं क्लॉड से वही पूछता हूँ, मैं परप्लेक्सिटी से वही पूछता हूँ, एंड यूज द बेस्ट आंसर दैट यू गेट. ये इसको लाइक ऑलमोस्ट रेगुलर अपना एक, इट्स अ डिफरेंट वेज ऑफ वर्किंग, राइट? कि आपको कंप्लीटली अपना चेंज करना है. कि आप पहले क्या करते थे, आप गूगल पे जाते थे, आप टाइप करते थे, रिसर्च करते थे, वो वाला टाइम अब बहुत शॉर्ट हो गया है. ये सारी रिसर्च आप यू कैन डू इट थ्रू AI, बट डू यूज इट एंड डू गिव इट अ चांस. and make sure, and it will help define multiple career paths, right? अब मैं एक कोई जवाब नहीं दे सकता कि अच्छा आप as a mechanical engineer आप फिर इस पाथ को follow करें with AI. That's the whole point कि आपके बिल्कुल ही redesign हो रही हैं सारी industries. So आप just stay on top of them and learn as much as you can on a very regular basis as a student. I wish as a student मेरे पास इतना टाइम होता कि मैं सारे experiment with all of the AI tools, इतनी रिसर्च करनी पड़ती थी, अब वो 5-10 मिनट में हो सकती है versus sort of the 2-3 दिन जो हम पहले यूज करते थे. But yeah, good luck using AI and obviously reach out if you guys have more questions.
ठीक है. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Faiz Ahmed and Dr. Zubairi, जो हमारे साथ थे. Appreciate all of the things that you're doing. Again, students, आपने हिम्मत नहीं हारनी, लगे रहें. You know, ये नाव अपनी कौम की चली अगर तो बस चली, उठो के वक्त है यही, लगाएं जोर हम सभी. कदम बढ़ाओ दोस्तों, कदम बढ़ाओ दोस्तों. अपना ख्याल रखिएगा. अस्सलाम वालेकुम. खुदा हाफिज़. पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद.